Good morning, good people. Today is Monday, August 11th, 2025. The month is 1/3 over. Okay, see what happens. The month is 1/3 over, 2/3 to go. This is day one of week one of our 4-week neuroscience approach to success. So for the next 4 weeks, we'll be going through this day by day. Let's see. Good morning, Watnada Bevy. About to be on my way to college to tour, take the placement exam, and get my classes and academic roadmap. Bing, good. Focus on AI. Did you see my chat message? And buenos dias. Chat message. Chat GPT. Oh, yeah, I did. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Talk to Lucy about it. Talk to you more about that later. And how are things in Fort Jax? We've got the nation covered, people. The nation is covered. Fort Jax reporting. Okay, day one, week one of our 4-week neuroscience-oriented approach to success. It's Monday morning. Our TED Talk is Daniel Amen. And we are here to help our students and interested people on their journey through this life. On the belief that we have a soul that transcends death. So if you don't believe you have a soul that transcends death, if you believe that we are just atoms in the void, then perhaps this is not for you. But on the other hand, it's probably more for you than other people, because we're not trying to sing to the choir, we're preaching to the choir. We're not here preaching to the choir. We're here to help people who don't know, don't have a plan, don't have a good plan to get through this. And we do it in 4 areas: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So, physical, you have to have a body that can do the things it's capable of doing. And that occurs through fitness and health. Eating the right things, for example, fitness and health. Eat the right things and get exercise, be mobile, agile, etc. Mental, ABC, always A, always B, B, C, learning. Always be learning. ABC, always be learning. We have a brain that is the most complex thing in the universe other than the universe, and we should use it for what it's designed to do. I'm trying to print something here. Print, next. Aha. No wonder it got me on that one. Sorry. Okay, and we have emotions we have incredibly strong emotions. Emotions that no other living animal has. A brain like no other animal has. A body like no other animal has. So the goal is to learn to use them to their fullest, or as intended, as they're capable of being used. And on weekends, we focus on what we call G School, which is the spiritual part, the spiritual leg of our 4-legged table. And what happens if you have a strong, solid table? What happens if you have a strong, solid table? You can put a lot of weight on it. You can do a lot of things. I'm thinking about something else last night. My apologies. Okay, theme of today. The theme of today is the Ivee method. So Darren Hardy talked about this. That's going to be in red letter down below. Yep. Before we get to that, we're going to talk about advice from an avoid sarcastic remarks. Sarcastic remarks. Correct. Not a bevy. What can you do with a table with 4 solid legs? It can hold a lot and doesn't falter. Right. What happens if one of the legs of the table is weak? You put too much stuff on it and it collapses. So it's the same thing with us. If you do not have, you're not physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually strong. That is the goal, to be those 4 things. And unfortunately, the most complicated one is to be spiritually strong, because spirituality, religion is breaking down into everybody gets to create their own. And the problem with that is they are not well educated. It'd be like creating your own arithmetic system, math system, and you just get to pick the numbers that you feel good. 2 plus 2, that's 7. Why? Because I need 7 right now. I need the number 7, so I'm just going to say 6 plus 5 minus 3. That's 7. Now I can get even more complex by stringing things out, adding, dividing, multiplying. But the answer is not right because I didn't learn the fundamentals of arithmetic. Arithmetic? No, arithmogic. Arithmagic? Yeah, that would be called arithmegic. Arithmagic. I come up with the answer I want. If the answer is right, it doesn't matter how I got there. No, that's not true. So we're here to help with that. Again, day 1, week 1, Daniel Amen. We'll talk about that. What's the fundamental purpose of this 4-week program? The fundamental purpose is to ask 2 questions. Questions are very simple. 2 questions. Question number 1 and question number 2, why do I behave the way I do? Now, these are not psychological questions. They're neuroscience questions. So it's not like, who am I? Who am I? Well, who is Navin Johnson? Navin is a complex personality, as there's so many of these new age Renaissance millionaires. No, not from that perspective. From the perspective of, I have this body, who am I? Who am I? Based upon my anticipated future, my lived past, my ability to synthesize or simulate things. Who am I? What are my capabilities? What am I able to do? What are my limits? And then the next question is, what causes me? Why do I behave the way I do? Meaning, not like beat myself. Why do I do that? Punk, ow. No, not that. It's what causes me to do the things I do. I could intellectually say that's a bad idea, but then I'll do it. What causes me to do it on a cellular level? Where does that idea start and what's involved in it? Oh, there's chemicals involved in that. Okay. There's a thought. Okay, so that's what we're going to break down over the next 4 weeks. And the metaphor we use is that life is an adventure. It's an adventure. And we're going to experience the adventure in a boat. But we have to build the boat. So we need to decide, what do we want the boat to be like? We could have a simple raft, but that won't take me very far, and it's going to be rough sailing, really shaky rock. Won't be able to store a lot of stuff. Or I can have a really big boat, but then I need a lot of crew members who are trained. The bigger the boat, the more the better trained, the more and better trained the crew needs to be. So that means the better I need to be to design the boat and to manage the people on the boat. So we got to figure those things out. And so we have to build our boat. Before we build the boat, we have to think it through. We build the boat, then we got to get a crew. And then in week 4, now that we have the crew and the game is afoot, the adventure has begun, we need to not screw the pooch. We need to not have a mutiny, wreck the boat, decide to go somewhere else, unplanned, get lost. Bad things happen. We want to have a great journey. So that takes working together. That's the 4 weeks. Okay. But day 1 of week 1 is Daniel Amen, Dr. Daniel Amen, talking about brain scans. And since this is a neuroscience-oriented approach to success, we need to understand a little bit about the brain. We'll learn later, just take it for granted, we'll learn later that the brain has about 86 billion neuron cells that are called neurons. It has a lot more than that, a lot more cells than that, but about 86 billion neurons. And each neuron has about 10,000 connections to other neurons. Whereas a worm, the worm C. elegans, which was the first mapped brain where every neuron, the connection of every neuron to every other neuron was mapped. And that had, I think it was 700 neurons, 300 neurons, and 23.3, an average of 23 connections per neuron. So that brain had 7,000 connections, and that's called the connectome. The connectome is the number of neurons times connections. So the worm C. elegans, a very simple life form, 300 neurons, 23 connections per neuron, the connectome is 7,000. Human brain, 86 billion neurons, 10,000 connections. That is 8.6 trillion. The connectome is 8.6 trillion. Big number. That's what enables us to do the things we do, or we're able to do the things we do because we have so many neurons. The worm C. elegans doesn't really need to do much. It needs to move and eat and digest food. Move, eat, digest food. That's it. I don't know if it has the ability to search out food. I don't know. It might just be that it moves to damper soil better because it's easier. And if it gets to damp soil, it moves further. If it gets to dry soil, maybe it can locomote to, I'll go this way because it's easier and just keep following the moist soil. I don't know. So today we learned about a little bit about the brain, about the neurons in the brain. And what we learn is about how the brain can be damaged. So you start at birth, let's say you're a normal kid, you have a healthy brain. The brain has a lot of ability and capacity. But there's 5 main things that are the causes of brain damage. One is drugs. Another one, alcohol, traumatic brain injury. You get bonked in the head. Something growing on your brain and a disease. Those 5 things. So those damage the brain. Brain is the consistency of soft butter, and it's inside a bony skull. So it can be damaged. Well, but the good news is it can, to an extent, repair itself. The brain that repairs itself, the brain that changes itself, it is what is referred to as plastic. So it can relearn. And Dr. Amen is famous for his brain scans, his practice is based on starting with the brain scan. How healthy, physically healthy is your brain? How physically healthy is your brain? He has good rationale that all doctors examine the body part that they're trying to fix that is bad, except for psychiatrists. And so his simple thing is we need to look at the brain to see how healthy the brain is. And if the brain is not healthy, we can do things to make it healthier. That's called a Brain Smart program. And that's what he does. And this is a Brain Smart program. This is a Brain Smart program, different than Dr. Amon's, but the same ideas apply to help fix brains, help repair brains that have been damaged through drugs and or alcohol and or traumatic brain injury and or something growing on them like a cyst or a tumor and or something like a disease like Alzheimer's or whatever, Parkinson's. There's a whole bunch of them. That is what we are here to do over the next 4 weeks. And this week, week 1 is overview and orientation. So we start today with the physical brain. Tomorrow, we're going to look at IQ. What is IQ and why is it important? Day 3, we're going to deal with addiction. And we're going to find out that almost everything we know about addiction is wrong unless we know about Johann Hari. Day 4 is Yuval Harari. Day 5, Viktor Frankl, famous, I think he was a psychiatrist, might have been a psychologist during World War II, went to German concentration camps. And day 6, philosophy of heroic suffering. And day 7, Amy Cuddy, how our body language shapes us. So our goal this first week, overview and orientation, getting comfortable, getting familiar with the feelings of who am I and why do I behave the way I do? And what's the benefit? Well, if I know who I am and I know why I behave the way I do, then I have the ability to dial in who I need to be right now. And right now, I got to get to our workplace. So I'm going to say and cut for the people who are there now. And cut.